Thanks for joining us. Let's get right at it. With us now from House Judiciary and House Foreign Affairs is Congressman Darrell Issa and North Carolina Congressman Dan Bishop, also of House Judiciary and Homeland Security. First to you, Congressman Bishop, will there be new hearings with AG Garland? Will you guys bring in the FBI? Because the counterterrorism criminal divisions, after this government whistleblower revealed FBI emails that they are spying on parents upset with school boards, what's the plan of action now?
Liz, this is a huge new development, very concerning. An FBI agent, troubled enough by this news to come forward as a whistleblower to report that the counterterrorism division of the FBI is threat tagging parents across the country in terrorism databases. And of course, we didn't know anything about it. And you know, Liz, this came out, that memo went out to the FBI on October 20, one day before AG Garland testified the last time. And I had written weeks before that asking for all the documents relating to his memo that started this on October 4. We didn't have that when we talked to AG Garland, and that's what we said today to Chairman Nadler. We need to have the AG back before us, and I agree, it ought to be FBI director as well.
And officials, because who knows if they're wiretapping parents. It's not a stretch to think of that because, Congressman Issa, we've seen the FBI be a law unto itself in the past under Trump-Russia. Why didn't AG Garland admit to this in testimony? Why is the FBI still doing this after the National School Board Association disavowed its letter to the White House demanding this action?
Well, you know, if the AG had admitted to it, he would have been admitting to the kind of wrongful conduct that we haven't seen since J. Edgar Hoover went after Martin Luther King. The fact is, targeting the innocent, targeting any group simply because they're an inconvenient truth when they protest at school boards is no different than the civil rights movement, no different than when Lois Lerner targeted Tea Party groups for their beliefs. The fact is, it's weaponizing government agencies against people that are your political adversaries. In this strange case, the political adversaries are moms caring about their kids getting an education, a real education, not just a video conference with their teacher remotely.
So are they trying to squash dissent? Because school board parents are a powerful new voting bloc. We saw that in Virginia. Right? I mean, so is that what's happening? This is a total deal breaker for independents. They don't like what they see here. And Congressman Issa makes a good point. We've seen this kind of big government power abused in the past.
Liz, I do think that's the only explanation. We're not talking about, I mean, to this day, we haven't seen some violence or threats of violence that have materialized that would justify any of this. What's left is that a left-wing political group called on the White House, and then the White House, and then this letter materializes that the White House helped to orchestrate, and the Attorney General jumps to the command and directs the FBI to go harass this political movement across the country, grassroots political movement. It is a pure corruption of the use of federal law enforcement authority, and there are a lot of questions that have to be answered about it.
Yeah, to Congressman Bishop's point, Congressman Issa, AG Garland testified he had no evidence that parents were engaging in credible threats or acts of violence. He based the dragnet on a letter of complaint to President Biden from school board officials and news reports. Remember when they reauthorized the Patriot Act? The concern was that the Patriot Act back then was going to be used to go after Americans. Now they're going after parents. And now you have the FBI in their explanation saying, well, we do threat tags just like we do as we track drug traffickers. So now they're comparing parents to drug traffickers? We got Congressman Issa. Okay, Congressman Bishop, can you pick that up?
Yeah, I think I can, Liz. He must have lost his feed. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. This is, you know, you see a total double standard of justice. We've heard about this around the country over and over. And it's selective. You've picked out a political opponent or enemy as they perceive it in the White House. This is just not, it is not the way to run the Justice Department, and it's gotta stop. But first of all, it's gotta stop being covered up. As I said, when we asked for the documents before Justice Garland appeared, Attorney General Garland appeared We didn't get them, so we didn't have a chance to ask them about it. So it's worse. They're targeting political opponents.
How can they not give Congress documents? We don't work for them. They work for us. You guys have oversight on this. I think Congressman Issa is back. So, you know, you heard what Congressman Bishop is saying, Congressman Issa. It's what he is saying. How can the DOJ stonewall and block any transparency on this? Okay, his feed is still down. Congressman Bishop, there's that too. I want to move on to this. What started all of this, Congressman Bishop, was a father was upset. Scott Smith said, you know, he was hauled out of that school board meeting. His daughter was raped by a teenage boy wearing a skirt in a Loudoun County, Virginia public high school bathroom. We've got news coming in that teenage boy pleaded no contest to charges of abduction and sexual battery in a second case where he allegedly had forced a female student into an empty classroom in another high school in Loudoun County. A no contest plea, he's not admitting guilt, but he's agreeing the prosecution does have sufficient evidence for a conviction. Parents are upset that there's been cover-ups of that, cover-ups of things like porn in school libraries and more. Why do the top-down, heavy-handed approach, heavy hammer of big government power? Why not just talk to these parents?
Liz, I don't think the American people are going to put up with this. To your point, Scott Smith speaking to that school board that night, what he reacted to was a school board member saying there had been no sexual assault. And this is his daughter. He knows what happened. And of course, it's all come out subsequently. But these are the people, it's people like Scott Smith that the education establishment and then the White House and then the Department of Justice and the FBI have turned against. I think it made the difference in Virginia in the election, and I think you're going to see, I mean, we've already seen moms and dads up in arms about racist hate theory being taught, about all these issues, some of which you touched on. They are not going to tolerate the federal law enforcement cracking down on parents.
Congressman Issa, we're so sorry we had technical difficulties with you.
No problem.
Your final word, what do you say?
The final word is, just like members of Congress, some do town hall meetings and listen. Others seem to show a disdain for the people who elect them. It appears as though, at least in some cases, that disdain by these school boards has turned into weaponizing the Attorney General and the FBI against them. It would be wrong if a member of Congress didn't like his constituents complaining at town hall meetings. It is certainly wrong when parents are being targeted, and that's what's happening. We've seen it before. We need to stop it and stop it now.
Congressman Darrell Issa, Congressman Dan Bishop, it's great to have you both on. Come back soon.